what can we do better from an educational standpoint? How can we up our game in educating the industry and educating the tile contractors?
Good morning, Jeremy Sachs. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great. We're so glad to have you on Up Your Tile Game podcast.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I was looking over your history and your longevity in this industry, and I'm just excited to talk to you about how you got started, your passion for this industry, and your new role.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful for what I've been able to achieve. But I could certainly point that to a lot of wonderful people that I've had in my personal and professional life that's helped me to get to where I am. So
That's awesome. And it's funny because we call this show Up Your Tile Game, and there's a long story behind the name of that. Um, but that is one question, like in 2025, we're going to up our tile game in so many ways. And we like to ask people how they're doing that. And I mean, right off the bat, it seems like with this new role, it was just as of like fall last year. Is that correct?
yeah. So it's been about 6 months or so since I've been with the National Tile Contractors Association, and the great part about it is I've known Bart Bedeca, the executive director, and Jim Olson, the assistant director, executive director, for 15 years or so. So the trust, the friendship was there. And so it was great. Right when I joined, it was just, it was kind of like coming home, if you will, just
Wow.
because I've known them for so long. So it's been really wonderful from an onboarding perspective.
I bet sounds like a perfect fit, like the
Yeah, it really is.
timing.
It's funny you said that, Christy, because when I took the role, coming out most recently, I was in private equity, and when I took the role, it's obviously a little different than private equity, but people automatically had sent me messages. My gosh, this is a great role for you. It's really kind of calling, and it's very much working for the National Tile Contractors Association is a servant role,
Mm-hmm.
servant leadership role, and that's really at the heart of me as a leader and a professional is being that servant leader to our staff first and foremost. You have to put them first so that they can go overboard and please our members, and then obviously being a servant to our members and in the industry as well. So
Yeah, that makes so much sense the way you describe that because from what it looks like your career spans back to like almost 30 years now in this industry.
yeah,
Correct?
I think so. I'd love to say I started when I was 2 years old, but that's certainly not the case. But
I
yeah,
know.
I think I've been in the industry about 25 years, 26 years or so. And, what's scary is it's half of it's already over, right? So what am I going to do, for my second act, right? My last act, if you will.
Mhm.
And so that's what I was really keen on when I met with the executive committee and Bart. And, joining the NTCA for me is not a job. It's a career move. Hopefully it'll be my final career move as long
Mhm.
as I ring the bell like I need to, right, for the organization. And so very, very happy that I'm with them.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your role there.
So, as the deputy executive director, my role is really to learn everything about the organization in the NTCA from Bart, right? Be his right hand, be his left hand when he needs it, and learn everything about the organization. I also help oversee the CTEF as well, and so over these next however many years, I need to learn everything. That's what I'm doing. So most recently, my responsibilities include heading up the nationally recognized five-star accredited contractors program,
Mhm.
which is an elite group of residential, commercial, and large commercial contractors throughout the United States. We currently have about 56 five-star contractors, and I'd like to double that number up to 112 over the next 3 years. We currently, and excitingly to say, we have about 69 companies that are already interested in five star just in the short time I've been involved. And I really credit my partner in crime, Becky Serbin, who's our director of education and curriculum within the NTCA. She's the our administrative arm for Five Star. So her and I have really done a great job over the last 6 months to gain more interest in Five Star. And I also now am overseeing all of the training team. So
Mm,
we have about 7 trainers that travel throughout the United States. They're on the road about 32 weeks a year, and they are executing complementary training. And we'll do about 308 educational programs throughout the United States this year. Educational programming that can be a workshop, that could be a 2 hour or 3 hour workshop
hmm.
at a host location, or there could be a 1 day regional training event, or there could be a 2 day regional training event. So I get the pleasure of overseeing Five Star and the entire training team.
Wow. It's interesting. I went to one of those trainings.
Mhm.
This was last year. I think it was last summer at Tile. And I
Yes,
can't believe
yes.
how packed that thing was.
Yeah, yeah, it's really exciting to see how our hosts have embraced our education and training, and I really credit a lot of previous individuals that have been with the organization. Mark Highline would be one. He's been integral. Jim Olson, our current assistant executive director, has been another integral part in developing what we are today. And I think it's really important as we evolve as an organization. We are going to have to evolve, adapt or die, as they say, right? But it's really important to take creed on how we got here, and so when I hear, Christy, your experience at an event with the great attendance that we've had, it's really a testament to what we've built over the years, and now Matt Wellner, who's our training curriculum director, and he oversees our training department manager.
Hmm.
Um, it's now, up to us to carry that baton forward. Now, I would say we are tracking every event that we do, by every host, by every trainer, by every um, topic that we have, and so we have all the data, all the metrics. That's something new that we're now tracking, and that's going to propel us into the future even faster.
Oh, that's very interesting. So, what are you finding so far of like just that excitement, creating, generating, or renewing the excitement in this industry, and then maybe seeing these new burgeoning talent come along? What have you observed or noticed about that so far?
I think what I've noticed, certainly most recently with a lot of new members, a lot of younger members, a lot of women contractors that have now gotten more involved than ever, there is really a need for this new generation to be more involved within the industry, but it's really about us and what is the NTCA doing differently. We've got to focus more on membership engagement, membership reach out, membership retention. And so these are all the buzzwords that we're talking internally from a strategy perspective that I think the industry is going to be noticing, probably more recently now, but even into the future as these buzzwords are developing internally for us. So I'm really excited for the future. I was just with a couple really active members in the New Jersey market last week, and
Mhm.
to see them come out and to be active and to be talking with other contractors in the area, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and and it's kind of this. It is like such an ancient art. We've talked about this so much with other guests, just including Bart, about just this ancient art of tile, the durability, the beauty, the elegance, and the elevation of kind of like that choice, when you want to
Mhm.
put this in your home or in a commercial property. Um, but then it is exactly what you're saying is really inspiring contractors to be five-star accredited or to even become a member and then continue to further this growth because what we sometimes have seen or heard from our guests is that there seems to be this shortage and we want to inspire this art of using tile.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned, shortage, and a lot of people say there's a shortage of labor, and there probably is to a point, but there's a lot of tile contractors throughout the United States.
Mhm,
And what the NTCA is going to be focusing on is how do we lure all of those tile contractors that are out there
mhm,
into the organization that learn how to install properly. Because you're right, Christine, tile's beautiful. It looks beautiful, when it comes off the manufacturing line, in the box, in the showrooms, but it takes that tile contractor, that skilled craftsman, to install it, to make it look beautiful on the floor or the wall, interior, exterior, and to withstand the test of time.
mhm.
I'm really excited as we move forward in how we can continue to propel the knowledge with that we have within the NTCA outward to the tile contractor, to the designers, to the architects, to the general contractors, to really make sure that the most healthy building product on the planet
Yeah.
is tile. You
Mhm.
could put a piece of tile inside a fish tank, and the fish are going to swim and be happier than ever. It's not going to kill the fish, right? So we need to speak that, and we need to embrace that, and promote that, and educate on how to install it properly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because you think about that. So there's stone and there's tile and there's wood. These are the natural products that we see out there. But tile is one of those that just doesn't really decay like some other things
No,
can,
no,
over time. So, natural process of time. Who
yep.
would you say, like, as you were just, moving into this and just that passion and that, excitement of just getting this word out, and offering the further training, right? Who would you say sometimes that you're up against, like other choices other than tile? Does that come into play with what you guys or how you guys strategize?
It's good. Certainly we've been involved with the whytile.com campaign.
Mm-hmm.
A part of my longevity with the industry is I was involved in a construction technology startup that was manufacturing LVT products, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luxury vinyl tile. So here, a lot of the trajectory in manufacturing was promoting tile and going against LVT. And here I'm now selling LVT. But life comes full circle, and I'm back with tile, and I'm here to stay with tile. But I think more importantly, it's really about, yes, it's educating the industry. It's going to be educating the consumer. You're going to see
Mm-hmm.
more from that National Tile Contractors Association on educating the consumers in the future, getting behind the whytile.com campaign. And in the end, truth never lies, right? We know there's other products that aren't going to stand with the test of time. And we know there's tile that will. I'm excited that we're going to take a family vacation overseas, to towns that were built thousands of years ago with tile, and that's there to stay. So we know what the best building product is, and then we know the best flooring product that will withstand the test of time. So that's what we're here for, to help promote it more.
That is interesting. Sometimes you have to like walk in another direction to experience it to then remember why something is, the best or superior. I mean, there are other options and they can be workable in different situations, but to just go for something that has that kind of, again, the elevation or kind of the class, honestly, that tile is going to have is the
Yeah,
interesting thing.
absolutely. And I think one of the things that I'd like to bring a little bit different slant to the organization and to our members, the tile contractor, is really helping the tile contractor even be a better business individual within their own market. So, for example, if they're walking into a consumer's home and they are there to provide a quote, and the homeowner has a bunch of different types of flooring, it's helping the tile contractor educate the consumer on what's best for their home. Does the consumer have a 100-pound dog that's going to be running around the floor? Does the consumer have, a few young children that could be riding their bicycles through the house, right? we have a 15-year-old son. We've been there, done that, right? Are they going to have pots that are going to be falling off the counter, or banging on the floor? So there's going to be areas that the tile contractor is going to have to educate the consumer on what's best. They're
Right.
not just there to measure and provide a quote, right? They're there to secure a long-term relationship with their potential customer that can breed more business through future testimonials. So it's really important to qualify before you quote, or with when you do quote, and so I'm excited to help maybe be a part of that for the future, for
Yeah.
the industry.
It's really kind of turning them into this subject matter expert,
Hmm.
for their field and
Yes.
industry.
Yep. Absolutely. And so that's part of that servant leadership that I would like to bring to the organization and to our members is, what are the three things that we need to educate the consumer on why tile, right? What are the three things that we need to educate the consumer on why the tile contractors bid should be looked at versus their competition? Are they an NTCA member, right?
Mhm.
Could they be a CTI, a certified tile installer through the CTEF, the Certified Tile Education Foundation? A lot of acronyms that it always makes it fun, but these are ways in which the tile contractor can not only win their bid, but they might be able to gain a little bit more margin in their bid as well.
Yeah, exactly. That is very helpful. Um, do you guys ever, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I just thought I would ask this, but um, do you guys ever spotlight any particular contractor that is a member or a five-star accredited, just to see his or her journey?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that, and that's it's a great question, because right on my desk I've got the new issue of the March issue of the Tile Letter,
Sweet.
and on the front cover is one-on-one with Dawn Davis.
Oh, wow.
And when you open it up to page 66, and the listeners aren't going to believe it, we did not have the conversation about this,
You
just
did?
happened to be on my desk. Page 66 is the page that I'm on, talking about Dawn Davis.
Oh, wow.
And so Dawn is a female co-owner of Strongwork Renovations,
Mm-hmm.
and Dawn is a force in the industry. And so this is an example of how we do spotlight our
Love it.
members. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Now you got me thinking, I'm gonna have to reach out to Ms. Dawn Davis. I'm gonna be talking
Oh,
to
she's
her.
amazing. Yeah, Dawn and her husband Jake, they're fantastic. They're
Awesome.
fantastic. So
That is so
yeah,
cool. And then you had mentioned something about, um, these different events, really getting involved with them. Like, for
yeah,
example, we have coverings coming up next month
yep.
and Total Solutions Plus. Tell us a little bit more about like what your thinking is behind that.
Yeah, so I think, one of the things that I'd like to promote is, if you are a tile contractor and you do not know what the NTCA is, right? It's just trying to put our arms around them and helping them realize all the events and ways that you can be involved in the tile industry. And it's necessarily, yeah, there's events at TICE that are going to be around the country as the convention moves from, one major city to another, or coverings that is coming up in Florida. But let's say you're in California, and you can't, bear the time to go across the country to coverings.
Right.
The NTCA provides educational events that will come to you. And I think that's really what I also want to really make the listeners aware of. If you go to our website, www.tile-assn.com, and you look for our events, there's actually a map in real time of our events, and you can hover over areas around where you live, and I guarantee you there's going to be an event near where you're located. And that's the whole reason for our training team to be on the road. And so we will come to you. But should you want to get outside of your box and get outside of your area, Coverings is an amazing, it's like the mecca in the US for tile, for tile, the tile event, the major tile event.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be, I believe it's April 29th through May 2nd, I
Yep,
believe.
I think it is. Yeah.
And so that'll be at the Orange County Convention Center. The NTCA will have a booth there. The CTF will also have a spot within our booth. And, it's an ability to learn and listen and attend some events and discussions and meet contractors. Then there's Total Solutions Plus in October, which will be at the end of October out in Phoenix this year. It's
Mm.
another amazing event. So, one of the great members of the NTCA has told me that when they attended their first coverings, they did not know what a P&L was, a profit and loss statement. So here they're running a business and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what a profit and loss statement is. They
Yeah.
attended their first coverings and the question was, how many of you know what a P&L was? And
Wow.
he didn't know. And he kept his arm down because he was embarrassed. Well, that individual now is one of the most successful residential contractors in the country, and he will advocate for the NTCA because he got involved with the NTCA and the industry events. It's allowed him to learn basically for free to grow his business, and now he's going to be turning over his business to his son in the future. So that's an example, real life, of how getting involved can really help a tile contractor grow their business.
Wow, that's a huge testimonial. I mean, really, because I think sometimes people don't really get why it's
Hmm.
so key to have a support structure,
Hmm.
people to go to, bounce things off of, even when you are like, I don't know, I mean, just that you have that opportunity to continue to learn, and that how this person took that information and transformed his
Yeah.
company. I mean, that's an incredible testimony.
And I'll take it a step further, Christy. If there's any of your listeners that have that aha moment, that want to talk to a tile contractor that has, risen from the bottom to the top, that they would like to have a one-on-one with, please reach out to me. I will personally link you up to a handful of our members, and maybe there's one in their area that they can reach out, that the member can reach out to, because that's what it's about. Is it's about helping tile contractors with education and with more business savvy to help grow their business.
The tools to succeed. That is a great, you know what? That's a great offering. I want to make sure that that message gets out there, because that is so cool, because that really does show exactly what you guys are there for,
Absolutely, servant leadership, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what leadership really is. It really is. So, just to circle back to something that's upcoming that you just mentioned, where are you guys going to take your trip? Let's hear a little bit about the upcoming trip, just as an aside right now.
Oh yeah, so we are going to go to Italy. So
Literally.
we're really excited. We're going to take our 15-year-old, and we're really focused on. We were in Ireland 2 years ago, and we really want him to see the other side of the world. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
And to see how other cultures live, how they eat, how other children behave and act and dress, and it's just our way of helping him become more worldly. So we're gonna go to about 10 days through Italy on a train all
Mhm.
throughout Italy. I think we're only renting one car in one city, only because we're gonna drive down to the Tuscany area.
Nice.
But yeah, we're looking forward to that, and I know my family's gonna make fun of me because I'm gonna constantly be looking down or up or around at all the beautiful tile throughout Italy. So
Truly. I
yeah.
mean, oh my gosh, well, that sounds like a great family vacation, and with an education on top of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If there's one thing that I always, harp on is I try to impart at least a lesson a day with my son, or
Mhm.
at least reassure him, like, what did you screw up today? Right. You got to, because that's how you learn.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it should be a great time, and a great opportunity for a little family time. So
That sounds awesome.
yeah.
So now I want to circle back to a little bit of your history, and then um, how you even got started in this industry. How did
Yeah.
it happen? How did it happen, Jeremy?
It's kind of a wild story, and I kind of start from really ground zero. So, my father, and then you'll understand why it's kind of an ironic story. My father actually was raised in a family business. My
Mhm.
grandfather had a high end women's shoe business where they had 6 retail high-end women's shoe stores all throughout the Chicago area. My father went off to college, graduated from Indiana University with a major in broadcast journalism, went and served our country in Vietnam,
Mm.
and came back and got his dream job in Walt Disney World. So when you walked into Walt Disney World and you heard "Welcome to Walt Disney World," that was my father's voice. And
Oh,
you're probably
neat.
wondering, what does this have to do with Jeremy's career in the tile industry? And I'm
Where it's been so far. You've been
yeah,
in different directions already.
and I'm gonna get there really quick. So, unfortunately, my grandfather's brother had passed away. He was in the family business, and so my grandfather called my dad and said, "Hey, I need you to come run the family business." And so my dad was able to work out a deal with Walt Disney World where they would put his job on hiatus for 1 year. He went back to work, so he would go back and work for my grandfather in the shoe business for a year. 26 years later, he's still in the shoe business. So
Wow.
we're going to fast forward this story. All of a sudden, my dad's involved in a tile business in Miami, Florida. And because my grandfather retired, he wanted to get out of the business, and my father was excited to get out of the shoe business. Well, he gets into tile into Miami, and so that was Tamiami Tile. They were a tile distributor and importer. And so long story short, we moved from Chicago to Miami. I told myself I'd never move back to Miami and get involved in the tile business. And that's where I ended up after I graduated college, working for my father in the tile business. And after 3 years, I said, "Dad, I love you. I just can't work for you." And he was really so excited for me because he did not want me to become him
Mm.
and to work in the family business where he felt I would have to work in the family business. So I joined this organization as a manager trainee. The organization is called Del Tile.
Mm-hmm.
My first day, they gave me a broom and they said, "There's your office out in the warehouse, where you're going to sweep your way out of the office." So fast forward that story, 18 years later, went from warehouse to the executive team. I was involved in various aspects of the business, managing branches, helping other branches that were struggling a little bit all throughout
Mm-hmm.
Florida, being on the executive team, running their allied business, setting material business, which is now called the installation products business. Was involved with commercial sales and national accounts on the AO Marazzi side. Was involved with the retail dealer as GM of dealer sales, now called vice president of retail sales. Residential sales, I should say. And so it was a great experience, great trajectory over 18 years. I really credit a lot of my success and my family's success to Del Tile. Still very good friends with the organization. They're a major sponsor of the NTCA, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited I get to continue working with them.
Yeah.
So left Del Tile to work for Inter Ceramic, ran their U.S. sales for about 3 years, and then had an opportunity to join a construction technology startup. So joined a construction technology startup where we manufactured flooring, cabinets, countertops, windows, doors, and that really appealed to me because I could get outside of just tile
Mm-hmm.
and get into other building products, but I also had a global team reporting to me, and that was a great run for 3 years. I learned a lot. I loved the startup world, loved the private equity world, and had a short, brief stint in private equity outside of the tile industry before coming to the National Tile Contractors Association. So I'm sorry for the long explanation, but
That's
it's
what I wanted to hear. That's a
yeah,
very full past. I mean, and it's very
yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
It's there's diversity, but there's also this trajectory, as you were saying.
yeah.
It's all leading somewhere. Now, see, you just said something, and I know I've heard this term before, private equity. I have no clue what that is. So I was just, I, what this is like some, trading stocks, or I don't know. I have no clue what that
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, basically, private equity is just right. It's an area in business where investors, acquire businesses.
Ah.
They build them up and they sell them, right? And some businesses don't make it to a sale. They don't continue. Some do. I'm fascinated. I have a degree in organizational business and organizational psychology, so
Mm,
I'm fascinated with businesses, and that was one of the roles when I oversaw the installation products business, and where I started to learn the NTCA and who they are, and got a chance to meet Bart Bedeca and Jim Olson. That was a really interesting role because I was working with all the different installation products around the country,
mm.
and so I could learn why does one company do things another a different way than another company, and I'm fascinated by that. So when I got into private equity, I think that really helped me scale my role because I had that inner workings of other organizations that were national and international. So
That is interesting because it is, just getting into understanding how, I mean, from small to medium to large corporations, how they manage to keep themselves, functioning productively and then being profitable. I mean,
yeah,
because a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
stuff can just get lost along the way, and just continuing to manage that and be efficient and productive and profitable. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's why I'm really excited to be with the NTCA now because I can use that experience from the startup world. That's a very fast-paced world that I can bring into the NTCA. So as we grow and we evolve, being the largest nonprofit tile trade organization in the world,
Mhm.
we are going to have to adapt. We're going to have to create systems and mechanisms. Being a nonprofit organization, right, you have to watch how much you spend internally, so
Mhm.
we'll have to bring systems and processes that'll have to allow us to continue to run fast, maybe run faster, but run leaner and spend less money. So I'm excited about that, and we've got an amazing team within the NTCA, and it's helping provide them tools to make their jobs more efficient and easier. Because one of my sayings in business is, happy employee is a happy customer, right? So you gotta make the employees love what they do, create an environment and a culture where they love to come to work because they will then make your customer, your member, happy. So
Exactly. It has a very big impact for
mhm,
sure. So,
absolutely.
another thing just popped in my head randomly, but as we're talking about, adapting ourselves to systems and whatnot, have you found at all that AI has affected the situation there with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's effective in a negative way. If anything, AI has helped us run a little faster, right? Be more efficient. I use AI constantly,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the team members in the organization have not. So I think now that some of them are using it and they're realizing, my gosh, it's this world that you can achieve. But I will say using AI is really critical in understanding it, but you can't trust everything that's doing, right?
Sure.
There's something about using it to get you there halfway, and then you've got to use your brain to get you the other way, the other halfway. So, I think there's an opportunity to look at AI in terms of education in the future. I'm
Mhm.
looking into that for in terms of a long-term strategy, but it's really critical that we can't just depend 100% on it moving forward.
It's
So
a tool, but
yes, absolutely, it's a tool to build the house, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
because nothing can really replace, human experience, the experiential side of us that has gone through things that an AI device, hasn't. But I have to also admit, I use ChatGPT for a lot of things too, so
yeah,
it's really handy. So this is going to be my first time at coverings, and
excellent.
and I was looking at the vendor list, and I was like, wow, this is overwhelming. There's going to be so many vendors there. Now, I take it you've probably been there numerous times.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there probably every year for the last, I don't know, 12 to 15 years.
Mhm.
But it's definitely it has its different feel in every city that it's in. So being in Orlando is kind of like coming home. I love it. I love Orlando. We've been, well, in the past we were in Atlanta last year.
Mhm.
And I believe in 2026 it's going to be in Las Vegas. So but it's just an amazing event. And what I love, it's your first time, so it'd be
Yeah,
great to hear about your experience. But what I love about our industry is it's just like a big family, and you probably have heard that in the
I
past, but
know.
people treat you like family. They embrace you, and let me tell you, I've been outside of the industry, and there's nothing like the tile industry, and it's even different than the construction industry in general. It just tile just has this it's hominess and this feel, and that's one of the reasons why I'm back and here to stay.
That's
So
awesome. The camaraderie,
yeah.
you're right. I hear that. It feels like a family and just the camaraderie, even though you might be, a competitor, which is so cool
Yeah.
because, it's natural, that you're going to have that out there, but that you still have that family and camaraderie feel is awesome.
Well, Christy, you hit the nail on the head. You're an, and I'm going to challenge you to see this with your own eyes. But I don't think you're ever going to be in a space where you're going to have multiple competitors hanging out with each other, like you will in the tile industry and especially at coverings. And there's nothing like it. I've never been a part as I've gotten out of the industry and other companies through private equity. That doesn't happen, but it does in the tile industry. So it'll be a great experience for you.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm looking so forward to it. There's so many exciting things coming up and going on. And yeah, but I'm going to be like that kid going, whoa, yeah. Can I create the beginner's guide to coverings after I go to this time? Like some way, here's your way to get through it. And look, because it's so overwhelming already. But I think I'm just going to have to jump in, I'm going to
Yeah,
jump in, raise my hand, like you said, ask questions, all that.
yeah, absolutely. Just go there, jump in the cold pool, and just take it all in. It's the best way to do it, right?
Awesome.
And really don't have a plan, right? Just go and figure it out when you get there. It's the best way.
I'm going to be there with my camera and my microphone because I'm going to be like visiting booths and just trying to do like person on the street kind of interviews and
Yeah,
some
yeah.
interviews in our booth and yeah, it's going to be fun.
Oh, that's great.
Tell us is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we haven't talked about in our
Oh, wow.
conversation?
Realistically, just the fact that if you don't know about the National Tile Contractors Association, uh, reach out, right? Reach out to me. I'm happy to help. We want to embrace the tile contractor, embrace the industry. If you're a manufacturer distributor and you're facing challenges, reach out. Right? I'd love to try and help you. See how the NTCA can maybe we can hold some educational events at your locations next year. We're already, it's March, right? It's not even the end of Q1. We're starting to work on the calendar for next year already.
Wow.
So if you want to be more involved, please reach out. There's no question is a dumb question. I'm happy to help anybody anywhere I can.
Awesome. That sounds great. And then the last thing I wanted to ask you is for 2025. Given your new role and everything, how do you see that you're going to up your tile game? What would you say is like one or two things that you feel like is on the docket?
Well, it's a little cliche to say, right? But God gave you two ears and one mouth. So I always try to listen a lot more than I like to talk. And it's a little uncomfortable because I like listening. I actually want to interview you, Christy, right? But so I want to up my game in continuing to listen to our members, listen to the manufacturers that we support and distributors that we support, and that support us too, right? And see what can we do better from an educational standpoint. How can we up our game in educating the industry and educating the tile contractors? So that's number one. I'd like to listen, and then number two, I'd like to up my game. Again from our staff, right? And learning their roles. That's part of my job. As onboarding is learning their roles. How can I help them be a better employee? How can I make sure and ensure that they love coming to work? And really being a better teammate for the team. So those are the two ways that I want to up my game this year.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, listen, Jeremy, thank you so much for taking time out of your business
Christy, thank you.
guest today on Up Your Tile Game. And
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
yeah, and I look forward to seeing you in coverings.
See you at coverings.
See you there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.